The Consumer Electronics Show just occurred this week, January 8th, 2019 through the 11th, 2019, where there was a lot of craziness announced, and also there was a big amount of things that happened in my life. Stay tuned for more on The Art of Thought. This is The Art of Thought, recorded on January 11th, 2019. My name is Kweku Asafu-Adjaye. Hope you guys had a wonderful week. As usual, it is now on Fridays that this is recorded. And yeah, getting into it, like I said, CES just occurred, and there was some interesting announcements. I was following it from afar, from home, because obviously I can't go there, and I'd be sick like crazy like I was all of December. A lot of crazy stuff happened. Not crazy, a lot of fine-tuning happened at CES this year. And normally I don't do mostly tech on this show, but nowadays it seems like that's what I'm probably going to be doing. So without further ado, CES. What I'm going to cover is some of the highlights that I saw, some of the cool things that I saw from CES, the show floor. One of the cool things that I noticed is laptop manufacturers. So laptop manufacturers, all the computer manufacturers that make laptops. One thing I noticed is the fine-tuning of laptops. Rather than us getting new laptops, like brand new designs and things like that, it's like we hit the current pinnacle or climax of what laptops should be. And now we're in the fine-tuning phase of laptops. Now with that, I'm also talking about the Dell XPS 13. At one point, it had, I think last year, or just last year, it had its webcam at the bottom because the bezel on the top was too thin to include the webcam. But now, they moved it correctly to the top. And it's one of those simple designs that made it great finally. You're not looking at the chin cam. You're looking at the final, it's on top. So you're no longer facing your chin. It's facing your face like it should be. So I'm looking at a picture of it here, and yeah, it looks really nice. The bezel is very slim. Obviously, you still have the bottom bezel, which is fine with me as long as everything else looks nice. Because at first glance, when you open up a laptop, what you see is the top of the screen. You don't see the bottom of the screen immediately until your eyes just slowly glance down. Then you see the bottom of the screen. For the most part, you're paying attention to the top of the screen. And if the top of the screen looks ugly, very ugly, you're gonna just be turned off from the laptop. Obviously, this is a nice laptop overall, but it looks like a really, really nice computer. Very nice computer. I think the same goes with the Lenovo Yoga. What they did was they moved the laptop. They moved the webcam, and they created a kind of notch, an inverted notch. So it's the Lenovo Yoga S940, and they created an inverted notch. And what that means is, if you can close your eyes, not if you're driving, obviously, if you can close your eyes and imagine your phone. Whereas we see, if you have an iPhone, for instance, you have a notch which kind of digs into the screen real estate. This inverted notch actually sticks out a little bit of the laptop, almost creating like a lip to lift it up easier too. So at least maybe a double function. It's a subtle little thing. It's not actually much. Actually, now that I'm looking at a picture on Gizmodo, it doesn't stick out, like protrude like crazy. It's literally like, it looks like they angled in the sides of the screen around the webcam area, and then the webcam is the flat zone where the laptop's body would normally be. It's a nice looking computer. It's very nice looking computer. I love the design of what they did to include the webcam. It gives you something to hold on to lift open the laptop lid in the first place, and that's one of the things that I I heard on DTNS, the Daily Tech News Show, and Windows Weekly, and also First Ring Daily with Brad Sands and Paul Thurrott. That's one of the things that I saw, and the Vergecast. One of the things that I heard the most from them is that this year's CES, other than the TVs, which I'll get into later, this year's CES, one of the big things that changed was the fact that we got fine-tuning of pre-existing devices. Yeah, we got slightly updated specs, yes, but we're always going to get that. Well, we got fine-tuning of it. We didn't get drastically new body styles or anything like that. 2-in-1s are already there. Foldable laptops are already there. And by foldable, I mean like you can kind of, it's still a 2-in-1, but you can fold it, back, all the way back. So it's the back of the lid touches the bottom of the keyboard chassis. Yeah, it was a very interesting show in that if you follow technology like I do, you'll notice that, again, we didn't get drastic new body styles. I know, I think it's Asus or Lenovo, one of those two. They came out with a Surface like OP, what I call it, the OP Surface device. Basically, it has the body of a Microsoft Surface Pro, and Surface Go, obviously, but it has the body of a Microsoft Surface. But it's a gaming machine. I think it's like a 17-inch or bigger screen. Packs a full-size RTX graphics card in it, and it's super heavy, but it's still portable in a way, because you don't have, it's obviously you're going to keep it on a desk, but you can take it, unplug it, and move it, because it's like a laptop. You fold it like a Surface. It's got its own keyboard thing, and you can detach it and all that stuff, Bluetooth built in and everything. And it's a gaming machine. So rather than it being one of those fat gaming laptops that you normally see in stores, it's a fat Surface style gaming laptop or Surface style device, which is crazy. And then speaking of Surface, another thing that I saw at CES that I thought was very interesting was the what was it called? Oh yeah, Lenovo. Lenovo released like their A something. It's a Surface Studio style device. Basically, Surface Studio is right now like $3,000, $3,000+, and Lenovo decided to say, no, we're gonna use that design style that everyone likes, where you have the giant touchscreen and the what is it called? The stand. You can fold the stand down so that way you can work on it with a pen. And you have a little dial like the Surface dial, but it's integrated to the stand a little bit. Lenovo did that, and it's cheaper. It's $1,000 cheaper. It starts at like $2,500, something like that, but it's still a lot of money. It runs a pretty good graphics card too, and it's got a space to put your mouse and keyboard so that's out of the way, so you can start drawing on it. It looks nice. It looks really nice. I would love to try it. Would it be something that I would want to get? No. It doesn't have as good of a screen as it, but it's still really good. And yeah, it's overall like a lot of companies, they pumped out devices. Obviously, Microsoft made the Surface line to enable software companies, almost like a benchmark. Like, this is what is possible if you really try to push your limits of like design. Microsoft created the Surface line for that premium style, and they wanted people to copy it. And so like it clearly made sense. It clearly worked. And so now we have today, 2019, as of January 11th, Lenovo has an all-in-one computer that kind of is like the Surface Studio in that it folds down, giant screen. I think it's a 27-inch screen, and it folds down so that you can draw on it easier, and it's like easier level for your hand to rest on to draw. It's got a dial on the side of it, and the dial actually can switch sides, so that way you can easily, work on it, which is really nice. Also, that beeping sound, I have no clue where it's been coming from in this house, but it's been bothering me like crazy. So yeah, moving on from the computer side of CES, the TVs in CES were also kind of different. Not different. we got the first look at 8K television. 8K. Can you imagine that? 8K? I still know majority of the uncles and aunts that I have right now are not tech savvy at all. They don't even have 4K televisions, and we're moving up to 8K televisions, which is insane. Like, the cable industry in the US does not even go past 1080p. I think in the UK or Europe somewhere, they do go past 1080p, but like in the US, they don't. The TV industry, I'm pretty sure, even if they say it's 1080p, it's probably like 720p that the broadcast system uses. And so the fact that 8K is a standard coming in now is quite insane, quite interesting right there. So we have 8K TVs out there that are going to be on sale later this year, and they're obviously way overpriced like 4K used to be, and it was great. And so like it literally is how we're doing CES. Every time we have CES, something crazy happens with TV, and it's literally like 4K comes in, 1080p comes in, now we have 8K coming in. And already, again, most people that I know, unless they go to the movie theater, which those are giant screens, most people that I know don't have a 4K television. I obviously don't know super tech savvy people compared to like me, but most people that I know, including my own parents, they don't have 4K televisions. So I kind of like don't know why. I guess I can say the reason why I probably don't know anyone with a 4K television is because most of the people bought their television a long time ago. Not a long time ago, a couple years ago, and they got a good 1080p television, and they never needed to upgrade it, so they never did. They didn't upgrade because 4K is out. Their TVs just never broke, and so they don't need to get a new a new television. And so when I'm seeing 8K, I'm like, man, I still don't even know people with 4K stuff. And like the difference between when 1080 came out and like full HD 1080 came out versus 4K is that full HD 1080 encouraged the broadcasters, TV broadcasters, to push 1080 content through live TV. If it's even 1080, they forced those people to go to live TV. Whereas the 4K stuff, live TV doesn't do anything with it. There's no 4K live TV unless you get like YouTube TV or one of those like internet streaming live TV things like YouTube TV, Sling, and stuff like that. Or if you get like Netflix, one of those like modern times services for watching stuff. Unless you get Hulu, YouTube TV, Sling TV, Netflix, Amazon Video, unless you get any of those kind of things, most things don't even broadcast in 4K in the first place. So there's almost no need if you're the super average person that only watches TV, goes to work, comes home, watches little TV, and then goes to bed. If you're that kind of person and you don't watch YouTube videos really, you don't watch Netflix stuff. A lot of people that are older, they don't, like 50 and older, they don't really watch Netflix and stuff. They still are using the old standards, and in that case 1080 is perfectly fine. And so when I'm seeing 8K, I'm like, man, what has to be the push to get people to at least go to 4K, let alone 8K in the next couple years? What's going to be the push to get people getting older, people who are older to, older than me, being, let's say, people who are in their mid 40s or mid 50s and higher, what's going to get them to upgrade? Because honestly, there was a study that I heard in the past, I think it was like a couple of weeks ago, a study that I heard, I don't know where it's from, don't quote me on it or anything like that, but the people who actually spend a lot more money than you would think are actually those people that I'm talking about, those people who are like my parents' age, 50 and up. Those are the people who spend a lot of money. Like they spend a lot of money. People who are younger, other than getting like cell phones here and there, which even then people don't upgrade like that anymore. People don't really upgrade. So it's going to be an interesting scene to see in the next couple of years, like what the point of 4K and 8K would come up with. I know 4K has been around for a while. TVs are getting like $300. You can get yourself a 4K TV. That's pretty all right. TCL is making their 6 series even nicer with like a 75-inch 6 series TV, which has been really well regarded apparently. So yeah, it's the scope of things, 4K versus 8K, or even 1080 versus the future of resolution. I don't know how it's going to work, because unless you're like me, where I can consume media through those sources that I mentioned, like Netflix, as well as TV, unless you're like me, or you play video games, which then of course you do that, or if you edit video and stuff, there's really no need for a 4K TV. Because I don't buy a Blu-ray 4K. I don't buy those things. I don't even have a Blu-ray player other than the PS4 here sitting in front of me, or the Xbox One here. So it's gonna be an interesting future space with all that. Now, pushing away from that and just going to more personal stuff. Just want to announce that I actually just recently went back to my old college, my old community college, and I talked to an advisor. Ironically, that faculty advisor ended up being my old IT professor, which is crazy. My old IT professor from like 4 or 5 years ago, that was him that helped me out. Because I said in the last couple podcast episodes that I was working on IT certs, A+, Security Plus, networking, whatever they call it, whatever they call those mumbo jumbos. I'm working on it now. And so I just talked to him to look at this IT help desk certification, IT help desk technician career certificate program at that community college, and yeah, started enrolling in those classes now. Not starting till like next month, but I'm starting to pull that through. And then after those are over, I think it should take roughly by the end of summer to get that stuff through, but let's hope it doesn't take that long. I should have my A+ thing by like May, which should be nice. Or maybe not even May, maybe like March. Microcomputer operating systems is one of those courses that I got to take. Help desk support stuff. It's a class on help desk, like things, I guess, how to work in a help desk, even though ironically I already worked at a help desk at my old college, my old university. I worked there for like 3 years. It wasn't really a help desk, it was in the library, but it still was from ITS help desk, but it was just another branch of it. And then I worked classroom support as well, which was under ITS as well. So I worked in IT. I just didn't have the certifications, and I was working as a student worker, which, of course, they don't put that much of a load on you. But then at the classroom support thing, we ended up doing the same things as people who work full time. Only thing is we didn't have dedicated office computers for us to specifically assign to work on. So I didn't have to do any coding or anything like that. So I'm working on that now. As I said, it's now looking through to see what businesses are around. What businesses are around to see, just how it works. I've always been interested in computers for the different reasons other than what some people have. I use computers to create things, whereas I build computers so that if anything breaks down, I can easily fix it. I build computers so that way when I want to upgrade, I know what resources I can use to upgrade the computers. And then I build computers mainly to create things too. So that's like my reason. And playing games, obviously. Playing games is like top 2. But that's like the reason why I decided to say, hey, even though I studied studio art in college and I do some of it, it's kind of a wasted degree to me. But why not go further and get this A+ certification, and then in the future get some other things down the line, and also get a job or internship or something working under IT. Remember I talked about my old YouTube channel where it was called Next Gen Windows, where I talked about Microsoft computer software stuff from back. I started back in the beta and alpha phases of Windows 8 all the way up to Windows 10, and that's where it kind of fell off, was around Windows 10's time, like the early days of Windows 10. And so I'm still getting emails talking about my app reviews saying, hey, someone needs help with so-and-so's app, if I can help them with it. People come to me for support, like IT support for an app that I didn't even create. People come to me because I guess I did such a thorough analysis of an app, a developer's app, that literally I became the person that people go to because I'm a smaller, I don't even call myself a YouTuber, but I'm a smaller creator that I'll actually be able to see your email and respond. So people comment still on the old videos that I made like years ago, and I work out sometimes to respond to them, even though what I recorded, the interfaces don't even look the same anymore, or the developer just stopped developing apps altogether. So I've been thinking about coming back to it, but maybe in a different means, maybe with a website, writing, as well as just using YouTube rather than as a way to grow YouTube only, because YouTube is kind of like wishy-washy nowadays. Using YouTube as a place to host the videos, and then use the website as a place to write out everything that I can think about with someone's app or whatever they do. I was thinking about maybe doing that. I don't know. Future is uncertain still. But we'll see what happens in the future. This might be a little shorter, and that was a sneeze. That was a sneeze from my brother sitting right next to me. This might be a little shorter of a podcast. I know it's only 20 minutes long. I'm kind of rambling now. I don't like doing that, so I'm going to probably cut it short now. But next week, Friday, the podcast episode, maybe I'll have it with a guest. I'll see what I can do. I want to get a guest on this year. I want to get more guests on this year because, it gets kind of hard doing it solo. But yeah, we'll see what happens in the future of the podcast. We'll see what happens in the future of me making content and for whatever it would mean, not necessarily YouTube, not necessarily even video, but just creating some kind of content, whether it's writing or just voice, or whatever it is. We'll see what happens. But yeah, all I can say is thanks for everyone who has tuned in to the podcast since the beginning. I know I haven't gotten emails from anyone, but I know there's people that listen out there because I see the demographics in different countries. Thanks for all those people who tune into the podcast. My name is Kweku Asafu-Adjaye. I would love if you don't even have to follow the podcast on Spreaker or iTunes or anything, but just use word of mouth and just let people know to just listen out. This is just a personal, a public private diary of myself, just talking about whatever comes to my mind, whatever thoughts come to my mind. And this week was the Consumer Electronics Show and more technical talk that seems to be a thing that I've been doing lately. It's just a lot easier to vocalize it versus do a video on it. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this type of content, and you can find The Art of Thought on HeluxMedia.com. All the latest episodes go up on there, as well as the show notes. They go up on there. And then you can also find it on pretty much everywhere where podcasts can happen. iTunes, Google Podcasts, Stitcher is one of the big ones that I use now. Pandora is coming soon. Spotify, it is there. And there's a bunch of other places that I can't even think of. Yeah, you can find it all there. And yeah, find me on Instagram, that guy, KWE, Quay. And yeah, you see all my fitness and my life stuff. And take care, everybody. Peace.